Now, back to In the Huddle with Bill Scott and Green Bay offensive lineman T.J. Lang.
And we are back here at the fifth quarter in Little Chute along with T.J. Lang and Mike Neal. Transportation provided for our players by L&S Classic Limousine Service. Personal, professional service for all occasions. Call 1-800-830-5933 for your reservation. We were talking about Charles Woodson, some of the numbers from his accomplishments yesterday. Woodson taking back an interception, 48 yards for a touchdown, the 10th of his career, the 8th as a member of the Green Bay Packers, and that passes the great Herb Adderley to make him the all-time franchise leader. He's also taken a pick back against the Lions in 3 consecutive seasons, and that is an NFL record. So Charles Woodson continues to get it done on the defensive side of the football. Mike Neal, our guest out of the University of Purdue, and you hold a number of weightlifting records at the school, including the 510-pound bench press and the 615-pound squat. Those are some pretty big numbers. TJ, what kind of numbers are we talking about? Why don't you break it down for us? 510 bench press. What do you bench press?
I think the most I ever bench press is like 405,
okay,
410. So 500 pounds. That's ridiculous. I mean, you could tell by looking at Mike that, he's a strong guy. He's dedicated to the weight room. So that's he's lifting a lot of weight, man. He's a strong kid.
All right, 615 squat. Are you a squatter? What are we talking about here, TJ?
I think my most about around 500. So yeah,
it's a lot of weight.
Yeah, Mike. I mean, 600. That's quite an accomplishment.
So would you call yourself a weightlifting fanatic?
Not necessarily. Lifting weights is just genetics. I mean, if you ever seen my dad's 2 times bigger than me.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's just something that you just do. I mean, the way I knew it was, if you want to play football, you need to lift weights, and if you want to be good and be strong and fast, you need to lift more weights. I mean, that's kind of what we grew up on around in Purdue. So I mean, lifting weights. I mean, there's pretty much a lot of people on my team that's strong. I mean, I might be holding the record, but barely, because there's a lot of strong kids that come out of Purdue.
Mm-hmm. So how does that translate to football then? Because obviously you can be the strongest guy in the world, but you still got to translate that over to being able to get the job done on the field.
Most definitely. I mean, you can see a lot of power lifters that are not really explosive on a football field. I mean, it's all about what you do and how you go about doing it and translating it to football. I mean, it's good to be able to squat, 615, which is actually not the right number, but I mean, it's good to be able to squat that. I mean, it builds power in your legs, but then you still have to be able to learn how to box jump and use your hips and be able to come out of your hips and explode. And just being able to hit a bag on a rise and not having tight hips. I mean, it's just a lot of things that you have to learn how to do, but it's just the way you train them.
Okay. Now, is that a max number, or is that something that you had to do a certain amount of reps in to say I did that amount? Or?
I mean, 615 is probably more of a rep number than it is a max number.
Okay. So what would you max out at?
I kind of stopped maxing out when I was at Purdue. The last time I squat was like 660.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't feel a need to squat more than 660. I mean, what does it prove? If you can squat that amount of weight, then I don't think that you need to keep squatting anymore. I mean, you're just going to hurt your knees and your back after a while. So.
Well, and my point is, because I wonder, what the workout system is here in Green Bay with the Packers. Is that part of it, from a massive, amount of weight?
No,
is that even important?
Not at all. Actually, I mean, I was in here in the summer and I'm benching and doing a lot of weight. And Coach Lavaz is like, "What are you doing? You don't have to do all this weight anymore. You're not at Purdue." But the weightlifting program here is probably one of the best. I mean, it's similar to what I did when I was training for the combine. Lifting weights for numbers is not necessarily what you want to do. You have to learn how to train your body through functional movements and being able to keep stability and balance. And I mean, that's what you train for, and that's what we do a lot here in Green Bay, and I definitely enjoy doing that.
Where things like this stability ball and stuff like that comes into place?
A lot. One-legged squats, one-legged RDLs. I mean, everything that you do here, from the way we do our movement and prep to the way we go about taking business in the weight room, taking care of business in the weight room, it's all it translates to the football field.
Yeah. Now, and I'll start with you, TJ. Does that part of it, the Packers system, the way they do it with the stability and all that kind of stuff, did that come fairly easy for you? I mean, you guys are good athletes. It doesn't matter whether you're a lineman or whatever. You're in the NFL. You're a good athlete. Was that hard for you?
Well, I think the biggest difference between lifting in college and lifting in the NFL is in college, you're always lifting to get stronger. And in the NFL, everybody's strong. You wouldn't be where you're at unless you were a strong guy. And most of it's about just longevity. You gotta be able to put your body through 16 games. And going through a game is like 10 workouts combined. And if you're going in there killing yourself trying to lift all this weight, you're probably going to wear your body out halfway through the season, and that's not what they want. We're all about just sustaining your strength and getting better flexibility-wise and keeping your body fresh, because the coaches know it's a long season too. And going through it last year, I could tell by that that playoff game, that 17th game, it gets heavy. So we have a great program here, and we're just trying to keep guys where they are, just making sure guys aren't falling behind where they should be. So we definitely have a great program here.
All right, it's good stuff. Your thoughts on getting picked round 2 to the Packers? Did you have an idea? Was Green Bay on the call list?
Not at all. I mean, I expected to go somewhere in the 2nd or 3rd round. Not at all.
Did you work out for the Packers?
Not at all. Wow. Nothing. I maybe talked to the head scouting director one time. It was just a complete shock. Actually, when they called me, I was head up the stairs to my dead cook. I wasn't really even watching the draft. My brother grabbed my phone and was like, "Hey, somebody's weird calling you."
That's Ted Thompson.
No, he looked at the number. He's like, my little brother's like, this is a weird number calling. I'm like, okay. So I answered the phone, and I kind of played it off to my parents, but they kind of toyed with me on the phone for a little bit. They're like, hey, we got the 56th pick. It was a 53rd pick when they called me. I'm just like, yeah, I know. Like, hint, all right, come on, man. I need, tell me something. And then they finally, after they toyed with me for a while, they finally was like, we're just, we're ready to have you here to be a Green Bay Packer. If you're ready to be a Green Bay Packer, let us know.
Did I say that, by the way? Did I say Ted Thompson?
Yeah, you did say that. Yeah. No pun intended.
It slipped. So when when you hear the Packers, you're a Midwest guy. You grew up in Indiana, play at Purdue. You know anything about the Packers?
You know what? The funny thing is, I never really paid attention to football throughout high school.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I first got a scholarship offer, I really didn't even know what that was. To me, I was just playing. I've always played a sport, and I just wanted to be the best at what I did. And going through high school, I just knew, hey, if I kept playing good, that I could probably be better than half these people and go to school for free. Went to school for free. I mean, I really never even watched NFL football. I had players that I watched that I studied on tape, but as far as teams, I mean, I really didn't know much. I started watching the Packers, and I'm like, yo, because A.J. Hawk went there, and then I looked at Clay Matthews, and I was like, yo, this kid's good. And then I watched because of A.J. Hawk, and I got a chance to watch him play in college. And other than that, B.J. Raji, because I knew him already, and I just, I paid attention to him a little bit, but not too much, to be quite honest with you.
A.J. Hawk, by the way, had a pretty nice game yesterday. He got more playing time with Schiller's injury, and really, I think Woodson had 13 combined tackles, and I think Hawk had somewhere in that same ballpark. So
yeah, he had a key interception too for us too. That was a big play for us.
Yeah. Although I think I could have made that interception.
I don't know how well your hands are.
I got good hands. I just can't do anything after I catch the ball. But. All right, news around the league. The Packers' former safety Chuck Cecil, one of the longtime greats. You may have heard this already. Now the defensive coordinator in Tennessee, expressing his anger at officials during the game yesterday without saying a single word. Instead, he flew the dirty bird. Problem for Cecil is that the television cameras caught it, so he'll probably be looking at a fine somewhere down the road. So,
yeah, I think there was a coach last week that did that I think got fined $50,000. So that's an expensive finger to be thrown up in the air to the official.
Well, Titans cornerback Cortland Finnegan thought the gesture was so awesome, and figured that he and his teammates would probably pitch in to help Chuck Cecil pay the fine if he does get fined. So Chuck's got his back, so he can probably do that, once a couple times a season, as long as he got the players behind him. So.
I don't think they're going to try to pitch in too many times, trust me.
Well, the Packers face the Redskins next. Running back Clinton Portis left with a groin injury in the fourth quarter, so it'll be interesting to see if he's ready to play or not. And Donovan McNabb, we'll talk more about him coming up in a couple of segments. Our email segment's coming up next. Chance to win that ski package from Granite Peak Ski Resort. We'll be back with more from the fifth quarter and Little Shoot after this on the Woodward Radio Network.